Kelsey and welcome back to my channel, Connecting with Spirit. So today I'm going to be talking about connecting with nature, trees, plants, all the good stuff. This is one of my favorite things to do because nature is just so high vibrational and it's really healing. So it just feels really nourishing to connect in with nature, trees and plants. I'm going to talk about a few of my experiences that I've had with connecting in with trees and plants and a few different bits and pieces. We'll see where this goes. I'm just gonna go with the flow and channel whatever needs and wants to come true for this. So yeah, I like to connect in with trees. Predominantly I do connect in with plants as well, but trees have a special place in my heart. So in my next video I'm going to take us through how to do that. It's a really simple process, so I'll probably guide you through how to connect with trees, but just some information about trees and plants. There's been a lot of research coming out now about trees and plants and how they're connected and how they transmit signals to one another and communicate and share resources and all this sort of stuff. I do believe plants and trees are sentient beings. They're conscious and they are able to communicate, and based on my personal experience as well, they do feel emotions, because I'll tell you about excuse me, one of my experiences with the trees. So there's this park that I usually go walking in, and I'd been there loads of times before, and I was walking by this tree, and at the time I wasn't in a good place. I was feeling really bogged down. I had a lot of other people's emotions and emotional baggage and all their stuff in my energy field. I kept doing that. I didn't really have great boundaries at the time, and I just kept taking on other people's energy. So I was really bogged down with other people's stuff, and I didn't know what to do, how to go about it, nothing like that, and just felt shit, to be honest. Felt awful. And I was walking by this tree one day and I felt this huge wave of affection rolling off the tree towards me, for me, and it stopped me in my tracks, I have to say, because I have never felt anything like that before from a tree. Was just hit with this wave of affection, and it was so lovely. It got my attention. It kind of drew me out of my pity party that I was having because of my energy field and all these emotions that I was carrying. So I just was like, oh my goodness, what is this? What's going on here? So I went over to the tree, and this tree is absolutely beautiful, such an old tree and kind of away from the other trees, out on its own, which I could relate to. So I sat down next to this tree and I just connected to it, connected energetically into this tree and started communicating with it, talking to it. I usually talk to trees and animals. They do talk back. It just depends. Sometimes it's not really like talking to a person where it's a language or a voice. Trees communicate through energy, so they will communicate via energy, so it depends on how you interpret energy. It depends on how you interpret energy, and that's how you receive the messages or the communication from the tree. So it could be through telepathy. You might just hear a voice or get an impression of words, or you might have a vision or just a feeling like an emotion, like this is what happened to get the ball rolling with me communicating with this tree. So I sat down and I connected in with the tree, and I just asked, like, did it have a name or anything like that? This is just my personal preference. I like to know if the tree has a name, and they usually give me one just for me because I don't know, I just like having a name so I can refer to that tree, and it's a human thing, but yeah, I always do that. So this tree gave me a name. It felt like a divine feminine energy. And then I just kind of asked it how old it was, and it was like over 800 years old, which I was blown away by. But it is a really spectacular, massive, full of like gnarls and knots and stuff, one of these sort of trees that looks ancient. So that was really cool. And then I pretty much just started chatting to the tree, telling the tree all my woes and saying how I had so many other people's emotions and I was carrying other people's baggage in my energy field and I didn't know what to do about it and all this sort of stuff. And the tree, I don't know how it did it, but it just pretty much took all that energy that I was carrying that wasn't mine, and I felt it come down through my energy field and ground into the ground. And I was amazed and I was so relieved. I just burst out crying because this was a huge weight that I was carrying, and I was just so grateful to the tree for doing this for me. This was like a form of clearing and healing. Yeah, and I was just so grateful. And the tree sent me like a little vision of a heart, which was so sweet. And I just kind of then sat next to the tree again, just kind of basked in the energy. Pretty much we have been best friends ever since, if that's weird to say, to have a best friend as a tree. But recently, well, no, it's been a long while that I've known that this particular tree is soul family. So it didn't really occur to me that soul family could come in other forms rather than just humans, that soul family could be trees and plants as well. Soul family can also come in forms of animals and pets, that sort of thing as well, but it just didn't occur to me. But I had later got this message that this particular tree was soul family for me, which made sense given the connection and just the healing and clearing that the tree did for me. So that's just one really cool benefit from connecting in with trees, that they can be soul family. You can have like a heart connection with them, and they can help you heal and clear in whatever it is that you're doing on your life path. So it's a really fun thing to do if you're out in a park or in a field or in a forest or something, to just set the intention that you want to connect with a tree, to share some wisdom or for healing or just to feel the connection with the tree, whatever the intention might be, and then literally just wander around and see if anything catches your attention. So ask your healing team or your spirit guides to, lead you in the right direction, to lead the way, to show you which way to go for whatever tree it is or plant or whatever it might be, for your intention. My mind just blanked there. Yeah, so that's a really fun thing to do. And then, yeah, just wander around and see what catches your attention or what you're drawn to, and then go and connect with that tree or plant, whatever it is. And yeah, like I said, I will talk you through how to do that if you don't know how to do that in my next video. Yeah, so that's a really nice idea if you would also like to experience the healing power of trees and the connecting in with trees. And then another lovely experience that I had with a plant actually was when I was working in the time I had an office, and I just really wanted a few plants to brighten up the office, kind of make it a bit more welcoming, nurturing space. And I set the intention that I had wanted a plant. Can't remember the exact words I used, but put the intention out there and went about my day. And I think it was a few days later I was in the supermarket and I was wandering around, and it's really hard to describe, but the only way I can put it into words is that this plant called to me energetically. So it like drew my energy in with its energy, if you know what I mean. I kind of like magnetized my energy to it. It's very hard to explain in energy terms, but it was kind of like the plant being like, hello, hey you, pick me, this sort of energy, which is what I felt when I was going around the shop. So I wandered over to the plants because I wasn't too sure which one it was, and I kind of managed to hone in on the plant. And as soon as I picked it up, I felt it go straight into joy. It was absolutely amazing. This joy just radiated off this plant. Again, I hadn't really felt this, but this was after the tree experience, so I knew plants and trees were capable of feeling emotions, but I had never felt joy from a plant or a tree before. So I was totally blown away and amazed, and I knew, okay, this must be the plant for me. because it had gone straight into joy when I picked it up. So it came to the office with me, and it was just so lovely, because every time I looked at that plant, me energetically and vibrationally, I would go straight into joy. So it was really high vibrational to have that joyful plant in my room and know that the plant was absolutely delighted to be with me and that it had picked me. It was such an honor and so lovely and so heartwarming to have this plant. Again, I think I had a connection with this plant as well, to learn something, to heal something. And I think I had it for a good few months, but then it started to die, and I thought I had killed it, like I had watered it too much, or I hadn't watered it enough. But I don't know if it was either the plant or my spirit guides. They reassured me that it wasn't me, that the plant had already been dying when I bought it, which was reassuring, but at the same time it was still a major loss when the plant died. And I mourned the death of the plant, because we had had a connection, and yeah, it was actually really sad. So on one level it was me mourning the plant, because of the connection and all the rest of it, but then on another level for healing it was to do with the loss of my joy and grieving the loss of my joy, which was healing that I had to work on as well. So it was multi-layered, multi-level and multi-dimensional, which was really interesting. So that second layer, I only came to realize what was going on there like many months, I think it was years actually, that there was actually two things going on at the one time, and it made sense later on. So it was really interesting, but it's such a lovely connection. And ever since then I've wanted to find other plants that I connect to in that way. I haven't as yet, but I have set the intention, so I'm hoping that I'll be drawn to other plants or trees that are soul family, or joy, go into joy, or whatever the emotion might be with the plant, because the connection was so lovely and so strong. So we'll see what happens with that, which I'm looking forward to it. So I'd really love to hear if anybody else has had any experiences with plants like this, emotionally, or what happens when you connect, or any healing experiences. I'd really love to hear from you. If you want to drop me a comment in down below, that would be great. I'd love to hear your stories. And then the other thing to say about plants is, because yeah, they are conscious and they can feel emotions, is to treat them with respect and honor. And that if you're like taking a cutting or flowers, or picking some leaves to make a tea, or fruit, something, whatever it is off the plant, to ask the plant permission if that's okay, and to just tune into your body to see what sort of answer you get. So generally open and expansive is yes, and contracted and closed is a no. So to just ask the plant permission and then connect into your body and see if it's a yes or a no. Most often, I haven't had a plant that said no to me yet, but it could happen, so just to put that out there. But most of the time they say yes. They are like absolutely of the love, and they love to be of service to us, but just to treat them with the reverence and respect and honor that they do deserve, and also to say, okay, to ask permission, and then also to just say, okay, well, I'm taking this part, so just I don't know what the right way to say it is, but to say to them to withdraw their energy, so it doesn't hurt them so much when you take off that plant or flower or fruit or whatever it is, just so they withdraw the energy from that, and you can take it from them as painlessly as possible. Yeah, so that's just another thing to put out there about plants and trees, to just be respectful and mindful. Another really nice thing to do is, I had read a book a while ago, it was called Vision Quest. I can't remember who the author was to give them credit now, but In this book it said like to go into nature and to visualize you going through a portal, so either picking 2 trees or 2 rocks or something like that. So you would set your intention and then you would go through this portal that you would create yourself with your intention by going through rocks or trees or whatever it is, and you just kind of wander and you keep going until a plant, an animal, something catches your attention or draws you in, or yeah, you just feel drawn to, and then you start talking to it. Talking out loud, I think, but you could always talk in your mind if there's other people around. Yeah, and then just talking to whatever it is and waiting until that thing replies. So I've done this a few times and it's really interesting. It's really fun, actually, just to connect with nature or even animals as well, to talk to them. Most of the time I think they get freaked out when I talk to them because they're not used to humans talking to them, especially if it's a wild animal. But I persevere anyway, because it's really fun in the connection, and sometimes they react in really interesting ways that you know they've heard you because of the reaction, and it's just really cool to observe. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Was there anything else I wanted to say on this? No, I think that's it pretty much for the video. But yeah, like I said, the next video coming out is going to be on how to connect with a tree, how to do that. I'm going to take you through that. And yeah, so we'll see where that takes us. And thank you so much for being here, for tuning in, for listening, for subscribing to my channel or liking or sharing my videos. Thank you so much. And until next time, take care and bye bye.